Hello and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Sherry Duckworth, and joining me today is Ms. Brentney Parks, president of Speak to Me. Thank you so much for coming and talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what is Speak to Me, and how do you go about getting your message out?
Well, actually, Speak to Me is a nonprofit organization that focuses on 3 key areas. And what we focus on is communication, teamwork and synergy, as well as personal accountability. And just to elaborate a little bit on that, all the time we run into issues and we set goals for ourselves in life, and we just don't hold ourselves accountable for them. And so therefore, actually having an organization that helps you reach your goals through helping you hold yourself accountable for those is one of the key aspects that we offer our participants.
That is wonderful, and you focus mostly on children. Obviously, you speak a lot to children, and is that your main target?
Actually, no. We actually have programs and campaigns for children as well as adults.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, today we're going to talk about childhood obesity and bullying.
Yes.
And we hear a lot about bullying, especially in the social media areas, that we have available to us. Today, bullying goes a lot further than it used to. It's not just at school on the playground anymore. And so there is a big concern about, how do we protect our kids? And also, how do we teach our kids to not be bullies? So how is Speak to Me addressing this particular issue?
Well, one of the things that we're doing, we have a program called Steps Against Bullying. And what that is, it's a program that we do within the schools, and we focus on children age 8 to 12. And what we do is we go in and they wear pedometers. Actual stepping pedometers, and they have a great time. As soon as they receive their pedometer, they're just so excited. So they have a great time with these pedometers. They receive the pedometers, and then they're challenged. They are no longer called students from that point. They're called champions, and they're challenged to hold themselves at higher accountability, to have better teamwork, as well as communicating better with others. So they're challenged to compete with their peers from a classroom group, and they're competing to whoever to get the most amount of steps, which equals the most miles, to virtually walk around the world and get to know about different cultures and get to know about different individuals. And so therefore, not only are we addressing the childhood obesity issues, but we're also addressing some of the other issues as to why children are bullied.
So they're getting to know more about themselves, they're getting to know more about others, and at the same time, they are working on the childhood obesity issue by being physical and learning how to do it in a fun way. And I can just imagine all these kids walking around with the pedometers, looking at the numbers and seeing, who's got more, because it gets so competitive, but how fun is that for them to make it fun for them? That's great.
Exactly. I mean, one of the most fun things about it is just to see some of the kids come up with great ideas in order to be active. And not only do we provide information for them to be active, we also help them as far as nutrition, healthy alternatives for maybe instead of fries, carrot sticks, or how to make fries at home that are fun, but they're a lot healthier than what you would have from some of the other really deep fried type of
course,
fries.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to switch over to all the fresh foods.
Exactly.
And it can be a challenge, especially when the kids are used to a particular way of eating, to get them to think, that fresh food is definitely better for them. And that's, it's a challenge that parents, even if their kids don't struggle with, obesity, still sometimes,
Right.
we have to work on. So, when it comes to the bullying, again, the steps that you have against bullying campaign, what have you seen as some of the challenges? What are some of the some obstacles that you have faced with really trying to address this issue?
Well, I think some of the greatest challenges is education. And that's one of the things that we do at the end of this program. Now, that program is typically an 8-week program. And what we do is they're in this challenge for 8 weeks. And at the end, it's a huge anti-bullying finale campaign. And so we have this showcase at the end, and they get awards for who made the most steps, who walked the furthest around the globe, who actually was the most encouraging. And this also is an inclusive program, so it includes children with disabilities as well. So we have the ability for children to have pedometers, which are speed odometers for children that are in wheelchairs as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then it just brings everybody together. So it really brings that whole team building, teamwork all in together, and the children just love it.
What are some philosophies that you're teaching the kids? What are some principles that they're learning about not bullying?
I think some of the greatest philosophies are just getting to know other people and understanding that we're really not that much different. You know, a child in America is really not that much different than a child in China, or, you know, a child anywhere, a child in Africa, a child anywhere around the world. We're really not that much different. And that really helps kids understand, you know what? There's no sense in me picking on this child or picking on that child, because they're really not that much different than me, and they have problems and happiness and ups and downs just like we do.
So it's really helping them to identify with the other kids and seeing what they have in common, that there's a familiarity there, that they're not as different.
Yes.
So that, you know, obviously you're going to be less apt to bully somebody when you understand them and see them like yourself.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
so that's a good thing. What about the education system? What about your schools and different organizations? How are they hearing about you? How are they getting involved?
Well, we're doing everything that we can as far as that goes with social media. We are definitely getting out active. We are involved in races and runs and different things like that in order to raise awareness. And our website is definitely one of the key areas for people to go and join up and volunteer and get involved. And that's really how we thrive, is through word of mouth and through volunteers being active and getting involved.
So once a child is entered into the program, can you tell us kind of what the steps are and what does it look like? How do they first get involved, and then what does it look like after that?
Okay. Well, basically they get involved. The schools get involved, and basically you just go onto the website where it says sign up. You click there. You put in the basic information, and that's pretty much it for the school to get involved. Then the rest is is our job.
Yes.
And then from there, the students will get pedometers, and the teachers will get support as far as how to get the kids to be more active and how to get kids moving just in everyday life without disturbing their normal teaching habits. For example, it could be a spelling test, or they're practicing over spelling words, and instead of just sitting there, they may stand up and, as they spell a word, hop and say the word. Just fun little things that actually gets them to move, but it also helps them retain the information that they're learning, because they're equating an action to what they're learning. So it's phenomenal. And even in the times of testing, it's great, because it kind of breaks up the monotony of sitting there just studying some of these rigorous tests that are now required within schools. It kind of breaks it up and gives them the opportunity. Hey, we're going to the water fountain. We're going to skip to the water fountain. We're going to do these different things. And oddly enough, these children, they want to continue to do it, so they don't get rambunctious as much as we would think that they would, you know, because you can see like all these kids skipping and running around the school, but it really doesn't happen like that. They really want to keep the program, and so they know, they make a commitment. So that's one of the first step. So it's get ready, get set, go. And so they make the commitment. That's the first step. They make the commitment. They really want to make a change. They want to be accountable for what they can do in their own lives, to be accountable for standing up against bullying, as well as facing some of the tough things such as childhood obesity. And the step 2 is actually get involved in doing it, and let's just make it happen. And then step 3 is encouraging others. So now that you've done it, this is where you get in and you encourage others, and you tell people, hey, you can do this. Let's work together as a team, and you encourage others. And so after it's all done and they've done the 8 weeks the 8-week program, after that, then we have this huge showcase that I described to you before,
Yes.
and they get to learn more about bullying, and that's where they get even more education, and that's where we use hula hoops, and we have a great DJ, and we have great dancers that actually act out, and the kids are interactive the entire time. So they didn't get their steps before; they're going to get them that one day.
That's great. So you make it interactive, you make it fun for them. It's great because they're not just sitting down and listening to somebody talk to them about why they don't need to bully,
Right.
or why they need to exercise and be healthier. It's actually doing it.
Yes, and it's making them accountable.
It makes them accountable. They have their group that they're with, their classroom that they're with, and the fact that this is just part of their everyday life.
Yes.
It really instills in them a sense of, normalcy. Like this is normal. We're active, and they get to take that with them forever. That's
Yes.
a great foundation that they're building.
Yes.
So I think it's wonderful what your program is doing to really help change the mindset, I think, of our kids from being, not that there's anything wrong with watching TV or playing video games,
Right.
but that's not what they do the majority of the time. They're not sedentary, always
Right.
sitting down, always at a desk, or always in their sofas.
Right.
That they're getting involved and they're getting physical, and then at the same time, giving them the accountability to, how they treat one another, how they talk to one another. What have been some of the responses that you've gotten from the community on this particular program?
We have tons of responses as far as people just saying we wish that they had this sooner for some of their older children, or that they wish that this program could be in more schools, or just saying that they can tell the difference in their child and how their child reacts and how their child is being more responsible for their own actions, as well as communicating better with themselves. They're talking to themselves, mentally. Why am I doing this? Why am I choosing to do this? Why am I choosing to bully this child? Or why am I choosing to choose this food? And it's just really great to see the community get involved and become active and join us with this fight that we have. It's actually an epidemic.
It really is, and it's interesting that today's topic pairs the bullying and the childhood obesity together, because it's unfortunate, but usually children who are struggling with childhood obesity are targets for bullying, and it's sad, but it's a sad fact that we have in our communities, and kids can be very cruel.
Right.
And sometimes they don't mean to be, sometimes they're just speaking honestly. But I think that you're really teaching them to stop and think about, what they're saying and how they're treating one another. What advice do you give parents when it comes to teaching their children or talking to their children about, being aware of how they're addressing someone else?
I think one of the key things that I can say to a parent is actually pay attention to your children, because a lot of times they're communicating to us in so many different ways, and we don't see it. And just pay attention to some of the little signs and actually get involved, because we all get so busy that you can be a stay-at-home parent and still not realize that your child does not feel that involvement with their parent. So actually just being involved. And even if you do have TV time or family time or anything like that, maybe add activity to it and have discussions and talk about how different things affect them throughout their day.
I think that's wonderful. It's great to encourage people, parents, to really get involved in their kids' lives, know what's going on, talk to your children, be interactive. It makes a world of difference, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
Yes, it does.
Well, Speak to Me is a wonderful program, and
Thank
I want to
you.
thank you so much, Brentney, for being here today and talking with us and telling us about your organization. And thank you for what you're doing for the community and for all our kids out there.
Well, thank you.
And thank you all today for watching Joy in Our Town.